คนเหล่านี้เลยพบความรอด
This is going to change your perspective on life itself. And through that, you're going to change your own life.
7 weeks in Asia.
Now let me take you and show you some of the places we went and some of the things we did. How do we mobilize a new generation of missionaries into the Great Commission? When you think of it from God's perspective, you know, God promised Jesus. He says, when you come to the earth, my son, he says, ask of me and I'll give you the nations for your inheritance. Today, Jesus is asking the Father, give me people out of Cambodia, give me people out of Thailand, give me souls out of Burma. It's the glory of the nations that he saw and that he laid his life down for. But we have to shake something loose. Let me ask you today, how many full-time missionaries does your church send? How many full-time missionaries are you in communication with? You know, we've pulled back so much in this day and age that we've got to kickstart this thing again. And I'll tell you why. It's because we believed some lies. You know, we've got some tremendous statistics that show us that the world is just about one and that we don't have much more to do. You know, that's a big lie. The fact is that everywhere we go, we find small pockets of Christians and we know where to look for them. The world is not seeing the church yet the way the world needs to see the church. We're nowhere near the place where the church is ready to bring in a great harvest or a great revival. Another great lie that we hear is that, well, we don't need to send Westerners anymore. No, we don't support Western missionaries anymore. Are you kidding? Who is going to do the job? Who is going to go to these places? We have got to stir up our young people. Give your lives for Jesus. Give your life into the Great Commission. I know churches all over North America that have hundreds of thousands of dollars in missions funds and they don't know where to send it because they don't know any missionaries that are actually on the field. I mean, come on, what does this come to? We need to stir up our young people and say, give your life for Jesus. But you know what, parents? You and I need to give our children into the Great Commission as well. Sometimes we're the ones that are holding back. And I'm going to talk to you about that in a few minutes. But at first I want you to get a hold of some of the comments that these young people give when they see God changing their lives. Some of the things that they experienced in their own deep down heart of hearts, looking at Jesus and what he wants to do with their lives.
Seeing the people and the people I've met in ministry, work, and just seeing everybody serve God and has really given me a heart for the ministry and has given me a heart for the people in the ministry. And seeing them go and do God's calling has really changed my life. It is one thing to just see God's work being done and applaud them for it, but it's another thing to go and be someone to do something. It is something to go and speak to people and to share the gospel and encourage them. When I get home, I'll tell my friends that I'm glad that I've been part of the people who've gone out and been somewhere and done something. I've seen and had so many experiences. I've had a chance to see people and done things that I've never thought and dreamt about doing.
I didn't think I was ready, but I decided, why not? Let's just, you know, step out and do something. So I came on this trip. I didn't know that I could find a testimony every single day about something that God's doing for me. I didn't think I could stand up and give my own message in front of a bunch of people, and God's really showed all of us on the team that you can, you know, just put yourself in the position and you can minister what God's put in your heart, and you can minister to any amount of people, whether 5 or 50. We got to minister at an orphanage. We did some physical labor there, like digging in the mud, and some of the team painted the walls of the orphanage. Definitely an opportunity of a lifetime. You need to be on this trip, because if you do, you're going to experience things that never again in your life you'll ever have a chance to do it. No matter what you think, if you think you don't have the money, do it anyway.
This is my third trying to come to Thailand for a missions trip, and seeing it from the big picture now, I can see that God wanted me to be on this trip and not any other.
I would encourage people to come on this trip because it really is life-changing, and God really opens your eyes to things here. You really see things in a different perspective and have more respect for people. I've had a lot of revelation on this trip too, so I'd really recommend it for people.
This teammate has been awesome. They've been really helping me like grow in my faith. Like they're super young, but they're so mature. Sometimes super mature. They're mature in Christ, really spiritually, and so yeah. And like also, I didn't really. Well, I'm staying for Bible school, for those of you who don't know, and my parents were the one who actually wanted to want me to go to Bible school. But like my second favorite is devotions. It's awesome, seriously. Everyone's Brian. Everyone's asking questions and really want to know about Christ.
In 7 weeks in Asia, it's life-changing with all the different leaders that we have every week on this schedule. So that's been one of the most impacting things in my life is the devotions that we've had daily. It's very important just to get the experience of other cultures and to learn what they believe and why they believe it, and that's how we can minister to others.
Jesus gets really excited whenever he finds someone who gets the Great Commission, you know, who has that revelation of his kingdom. When Peter said, "You're the Christ, the Son of the living God," you remember Jesus said, "Oh, blessed are you, Simon, because you understand, you have a revelation from God the Father. It's not something that you thought up of yourself. It's a revelation in your spirit." And then he goes on to talk about how he looks for men and women who will give their lives to this Great Commission. And as parents and as leaders, church leaders, we need to be willing and ready to give up our children for the Great Commission. And one of the things that when we talk about 7 weeks in Asia, of course we get parents saying, well, is it safe? Well, one good thing about short-term missions is we've become accustomed to the idea now in our Western churches that short-term missions trips are fine. So we're finding that people are willing to come on these. Is it safe? Well, it's probably about as safe as, you know, driving down the freeway at home or sitting in a classroom at school or wherever it may be. You know, their only guarantee of safety is when God has us in the center of His will and He is protecting us by His blood, and that's what we believe in for on this trip. You know, we go into some crazy places, but of course we're not taking unnecessary risks, but always what Jesus is saying is, are you willing to lay your life down, not only to die for me? You know, I mean, that's one thing to die for the Lord, but are you willing to live for me? Are you willing to live this kind of live by faith, walk by faith day by day? And as Jesus said here to His disciples, He says, if anyone comes after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross. And this is in Matthew chapter 16. And verse 25 says, whoever desires to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. For what profit is it to a man if he loses his own soul but gains the whole world? Or what will a man give in exchange for his own soul? And very strong words from Jesus here. He says, for the Son of Man will come in the glory of His Father with His angels and will reward each according to his works. You know, there's going to be a very decisive day of reckoning, of rewards, and God is going to come and He's going to judge how we gave our lives to Him. He's going to judge what we lived for. He's going to judge what the agenda of our heart was. Was it the Great Commission, or was it we were desiring for worldly security? You know, and I want to encourage you, parents and leaders, that we need to encourage our kids, we need to encourage young people that the best place that they can invest their life, the best place that they can be trained for ministry is in the local church ministry, whether it's in North America or whether it's in Thailand or whether it's in Cambodia, because God is going to build His kingdom through the local church, and He wants us to be built up and mobilizing believers, disciples into that kingdom mandate, into that Great Commission. And so we need